When your sibling breaks a leg, literally in this case, is it your job to pick up the slack for every single thing in their life? That's what's happening in our first story today. G'day there guys, it's your main man Markee, and welcome back to another episode of r/Am I the Arsehole. Now if you love today's bloody good content, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn to the barbie, and get ready for it. Let's go. Am I the arsehole for not helping my brother after he broke his leg? Okay, so the title makes me sound awful, but hear me out. I've been sick for a month, but no one knows what it is, thankfully not COVID. Basically, I'm in bed, sleeping most of the day, and when I'm not sleeping, I'm exhausted. Walking down one flight of stairs can feel like I've just been rock climbing. I've had blood tests for anything that would match the symptoms, but nothing came up abnormal. My brother, 23 male, broke his leg about a week ago trying to prove that he could jump downstairs. Because his case is urgent, he needs surgery to join a piece of the bone. Most of the focus has been on him, so I'm alone for most of the day, unless I have friends come over to help with catching up on schoolwork. So I've gotten pretty depressed, and that has in turn made me feel worse. The last week since he broke his leg, he's been making a lot of jokes about how I might have cancer/a brain tumor, which has definitely freaked me out. And our parents put it down to him being frustrated. Whenever we're in the same room and exhausted myself, which can include me having to sit down where I am, including on the floor, even if I'm near a chair, he'll ask me to get things for him or clear things for him. Our parents have obviously been doting on him, and they're usually in the room and happy to help him, but he wants me to do it. This can lead to me exhausting myself, getting him things at lunch and being too tired to eat. After a week, I'm just done. I'm avoiding him so I don't have to do things for him, even if it means he has to wait until someone else is free, and I feel like a bit of an asshole because he needs crutches to get around, so he has a harder time than me reaching or opening things. It also sucks that when my friends are over, he interrupts us while we're studying. I have about 2 hours a day of energy to study, and will tease me by insulting me or calling me lazy and saying I'm expendable because I'm the third child, so who cares if it's serious? I've been lectured by our parents and told to be nicer and more considerate, and since I have energy bursts, I'm really not that sick anymore. I feel like I'm in the right not to help him, but it feels a bit like revenge. Am I the arsehole? This is just typical brothers being an arsehole kind of revenge. It's sad that he's 23 years old and he's still continuing this behavior. My sister cut that out around the time she was like 17 years old because she realized, hey, younger sibling, I'm slowly becoming an adult now. Maybe I should stop being an asshole and just be a normal person for once. I would like to think that most people get out of that stupid bullying phase, but obviously because of r/Am I the Arsehole, we see a lot of that never changes. And unfortunately, this is one of those circumstances. This guy just sucks overall, and I'm so sorry that your parents are on his side instead of yours. But I don't think you're the arsehole for this. Now in the comments, Tuscany Lovers says, "Sorry OP, your brother and parents are treating you very badly. Using crutches at 24, it's not a big deal. Teasing you that you have brain cancer, on the contrary, is. Stand up for yourself and go see your GP until you figure out what's going on with your lack of energy. Not the arsehole." Yeah, I've been on crutches most of my adult life. Sure, it's inconvenient, but getting lunch isn't a problem. Weird how I managed to live alone, do my own shopping, drive a car, go to school and work, shower, clean the house, make my own food, and even host dinner parties, all while on crutches, but he can't even make toast. He's being a lazy asshole, using the fact that he broke his leg as an excuse to treat you like Cinderella. He's on crutches, not paralyzed from the neck down. Ask him if he wants you to chew his food for him and feed him like a baby bird too. This is ridiculous. Someone else says, "Not the arsehole. I think that with all help given to others, it must be done from stable footing. Take the time you need to recover and pitch in at a level that you can manage without kneecapping yourself too much. At the end of the day, it was their mistake jumping. They have crutches to get around, they can manage almost every task, just a bit slower. Nobody dies if you take time for yourself. Try to shut out the feeling of familial obligation." Also, those comments from them tip this to not the arsehole. Had they kept their mouth shut, this would simply be no arseholes here, and some advice for you to enact a bit of self-care. And OP replies, "The problem is, next week I have a day of hospitalization to decide whether I should be hospitalized until they figure out what's wrong and the severity. So if I am hospitalized for more than a day due to the fact that I'm a minor, a parent might have to be with me all day. So there would be a less focus on him, and the least I could do is help so they can focus on work so they don't create a backlog if they do prolong my stay." OP, that is not a problem. Your parents focusing on your well-being rather than work or your brother's broken leg is the minimum they should do. Agreed. Broken legs can be managed. The brother is young and crutches exist for a reason. And now on to the update. So while I doubt anyone wants or needs an update, people were so nice and helpful when I wrote originally that I wanted to update. I ended up being hospitalized for a bit and being given 2 possible diagnoses, and was told just to wait till I get better, though it might take a few months. My issues with my brother and parents were not solved, but honestly I think until I can move out and distance myself / stop being dependent, things aren't going to be better. There's always going to be a clear favorite, and honestly, I'm coming to terms with being okay with that. I've talked with my older sister, and we both kind of agreed that he's burned his bridges, and we need to look out for ourselves more than we look out for him. He was really hurt by the fact that we are way closer and ostracized him a bit, but after he's threatened and cursed at both of us, I'm surprised he didn't see it coming. Plus, our dog now prefers to play with me rather than with my brother, which I know is petty, but it makes me happy, even if it's a cruel happiness that he doesn't get everything he wants, and that there are repercussions to his actions. So I'd say all's well that ends well, even if it's not well and as intended, because I'm looking forward to the future, and planning with friends so I'm out of the house more. And I get to subtly brag I have friends, because he keeps saying I'm a horrible person who manipulates people into being my friend. And since I told them, they've started disliking him too, so I don't feel uncomfortable with him trying to convince my friends they should be his friends and not mine, which is also uncomfortable because age gap. So thanks to the people who commented originally. Without it, I probably wouldn't have pushed so hard to follow my doctor's recommendations and go to the hospital, and I wouldn't have stood up to my family. Now in the comments, Stunning Grocery says, "I wanted an update. I'm sorry you live in a toxic household, but at least you have the right mentality for it. Best of luck. And P.S. I wouldn't mind getting an update about your diagnoses either." I'm guessing with the treatment plan of wait and see, your options were viral or autoimmune. I hope it's a virus that you eventually get over and you feel better sometime this year. Him trying to convince your friends to be his friends is just pathetic and laughable. Sorry, but your brother sounds like a loser. Younger friends, especially since OP is female, just sound like him trying to take advantage of someone, especially if the brother likes women, though that could be true with any gender. The dynamics are different. I'm glad OP let her friends know what he is like to her. I'm sorry, what? A grown-ass adult is pestering minors to be his friends over OPs? Did I read that right? And OP replies, "Unfortunately, yes. This guy is gonna lead a very sad life." Our next post is titled, "Am I the asshole for giving away money set aside for my education to my stepsister?" My mum passed away when I was 5 years old. She had willed that a certain amount of money to be set aside for my education. It is a good chunk of change. The thing is though, when I did go to college, I got a full-ride scholarship. I really don't need that money. I'm doing a great course from a good college, and I have an offer in hand. Honestly, I'm not very driven by monetary things, so I don't think I'll miss the money anyway. My sister is still in high school, she's doing well, but I don't think that she's going to get scholarships. She's planning on going to community college and then trying transferring into a good school. The problem is that even if she does that, she'll have to take on debt. My parents can't really afford to pay for her college. The pandemic has set them back. I texted her that when she was going to college, I had some money and I would cover some of her money. She was really grateful and we talked after that, and she was really excited at the prospect of applying for her dream college. The trouble started when she talked to our parents, and they found out that it was Mum's money that I was giving her. They don't want me to give the money away. They are arguing that that money was meant for me, and giving it away would be against her wishes. Dad is furious at me, and my stepmom is also reluctant and wants me not to do this. I think for them it feels like betraying mum's memory. They both used to be really close to her before her death. My sister understands their perspective, and I think she feels hurt. I got her hopes up, and my parents are crushing her hope. I honestly don't get it, but they're making me second guess this. I really don't want to go against my mum's wishes at the same time. OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the asshole. I feel guilty for starting this whole thing. I hurt everyone in the family with this, and I feel like a POS, crap starting drama. Now in the comments, no assholes here. Everyone has someone's best interest at heart, but sit down and have a conversation about it. Explain that this would make you happy if it would, and that it's your money to choose what to do with. I'm kinda stunned. Usually this conversation goes a completely different route. OP's money could have been used for a house deposit or a wedding or a business startup, and that's probably where their parents are coming from. OP sounds pretty young, still in college, so the parents are probably thinking they're being a little naive by saying they don't need the money. At least that's my line of thinking. Life after college is stupid expensive. I don't know how much money OP has, but a good compromise would be for OP to cover the tuition, and the sister would have to pay for supplies and living expenses herself. This kind of post is pretty wholesome, a nice deviation from the usual family greed. And OP replies, "Gonna find out soon. Almost done with college. I have seen a few other people call me naive, and I think I will manage, but that's probably my arrogance coming out. I'm totally fine with not giving her money right now and waiting a year or two before giving her the money. It would work for the both of us, and I would have a better understanding of finance. I do think I played this like a fool. I should have just paid her loans out after I got a job and was settled, and used that money to buffer my expenses. Money is fungible. Maybe I am naive after all. Got a bit excited with this one." Helping to pay down her loans is a great compromise, even if you don't pay them completely. Yeah, your offer of helping with student loan payments is the wise move. To be frank, you are entering the job market at a historically awful time. Look up the lifetime earnings of graduates in 08-07. They are permanently lower than people who didn't graduate into a recession economy. When you haven't experienced the pressure of a random expense that stretches your budget to the max, you really aren't qualified to state whether or not you can handle it or not. Keep your money, invest it into some responsible index funds so that when it comes time for your sister to start paying back her debt, you'll be able to help. Also, the old adage of first in, first out applies here. You are the new guy on the team, and not one singular company in the world wouldn't fire you first when it comes time to trim the budget. You are totally expendable for at least the next 3 to 5 years. Your false sense of confidence could really screw you. But also, mad respect for you being so generous and loving. Very few people are. And Dinasha says, no assholes here. They are rightly pointing out the intention of the money from your late mother. But unless there are stipulations to how you must use it, it's your call in the end on whether you use it for yourself or for your stepsister. Just curious, did they explain other than it's going against your late mother's wishes why they're against it? Possibly they may be worried that people saying you have to give up your money for your stepsister leading to bad rumors. Else, why not this alternative? Loan your stepsister the money instead, with her repaying you at an agreed duration and amount, etc. This way you didn't technically give the money away and still help your stepsister at the same time. And now on to the update. I would like to thank all the commenters for knocking some sense into me. I talked to my sister about it and told her that I will help her with paying for college, but with my own money and not my mother's money. I'm planning to set it aside to start a business or whatever else I may need the money for. I really don't know, and it was wiser to save the money and use my income to help when I had a better understanding of adult finances. I finally got a chance to talk to my parents, and I was able to convince them of this plan. They seemed much less concerned about this plan, but I still had to convince them about my financial well-being, and then I asked them why they were so adamant about not using my mum's money. They were being evasive and I pushed a little, and it seemed my mother didn't want her money to be used for anything to do with my stepsister. I know. But before I could probe further and ask them if they did cheat on Mom, my mum started crying. She was mumbling something and I didn't hear most of it. The things I did hear didn't make sense. My mum was repeatedly saying she didn't love me, and she didn't let me see her, and she would hate me, and she only loved you. And Dad was consoling her by saying she loved you, again and again. I removed myself from that situation quickly after my brain did recover from the shock. It was heartbreaking to see her like that, and I feel like I don't trust their narrative of what their relationship was like. It wasn't a clean-cut thing that they have presented. I really don't want to assume they were cheating. I know they were cheating. It is the logical explanation, but I don't want to believe it, and my mother knew about it, hated it, and cut off my stepmom. I'm not going to process this. Anyway, I will be paying for my sister's college. Whatever our parents did was not her fault. I'm going to pretend that nothing happened. Now in the comments, I'm very confused and I don't know if it's my bad translation of English. I do not speak it naturally, and what I know is a little more than basic, or the way in which the post is written. You mentioned in the original post that your mother died when you were 5 years old, but here you talk about your mother. Do you call your stepmother Mama? If so, what did they mean when your mother cut your stepmother? Did your dad cheat on your mother with your stepmother? Do you know why she said no? Someone doesn't love her and hates her. Did she mean your sister? The wording or the fact that it is in a language that I speak fluently and that Google Translator is very bad confuses me, and I need answers if possible. It's okay. The post is a bit confusing, yes. She calls her stepmother Mum. When she tried to ask why they think her bio mum wouldn't want the money used for her sister, stepmom kind of implied that bio mum didn't like her. So a logical explanation could be that her dad might have cheated on his first wife with his second. OP didn't want to ask if it's true because she feels that she doesn't want to know since it's all in the past and she loves everyone the same. I hope this helped. And OP adds, I'm sorry, I'm really not used to writing about my mother. The only person who really talked to me about my dead mother is my stepmom, and I always called both of them mum, and it's never been an issue before. It always made sense in the context that we both used to talk about her. It is messing with me here, and I was drunk when I wrote it. Sorry. Honestly, I don't know what happened between all three of my parents. Quote, do you know why she said no? Someone doesn't love her and hates her. Did she mean your sister? I really don't know. She was crying and talking to Dad. I was only able to hear part of it, and I really don't know how to interpret it. I don't think my stepmom was talking about my sister, as my dad's response was that she loved you, which would be a weird thing to say if my stepmom was talking about my sister. And quote, did your dad cheat on your mother with your stepmother? I think they did. Why else would my mother not want to pay for my sister's education? Why would she even think that her money is going to be used for my sister's education? I'm sorry this is confusing, but it is confusing even for me, and I'm trying to wrap my head around this myself. And our next post is titled, Would I be the asshole if I told my coworker I'm keeping the snail I fostered for her daughter? I know, this is probably a stupid thing to care about, but I can't help it. I got attached to the guy. It started back in January 2021. My coworker came to me because she knew that I had experience with exotic pets, fish, various reptiles, etc. Her 18-year-old daughter ran away and moved several states away suddenly and left her snail behind. She asked if I could take care of the thing because she was too busy to remember maintenance, and I said sure. Before she brought him to me, I had a conversation with my coworker. I said, just so we're clear, am I just fostering this snail for your daughter to get back soon, or am I adopting him? Because I will find a way to get attached to the snail, and I want to know where to keep my expectations, haha. And she replies, it's whatever you want it to be. If you'd rather keep him, just keep him. If you want to unload him back when she's back in town, I'll tell her she has to take him back. You can have him. And I reply to that, I'll adopt him then. I've always wanted a pet snail, smiley face. So I get the snail, and it's in poor condition. hibernating due to poor enclosure conditions, moldy food in his dish, dirt from outside. This is a huge no-no, especially because I don't think it was sterilized first, and lots of hard objects for him to fall on and possibly break his shell. I had an old 10-gallon aquarium, so I bought the appropriate decor and substrate. About $50 worth of decor. I got his temp and humidity up, and he woke up and has been happy ever since. That was all in the beginning of January, like the 5th or something. Last week, my coworker told me her daughter is coming back into town in June, and she wants her snail back. She saw the enclosure I made for him and wants to know what I used so she can do the same for him. I was shocked that she brought it up at all, and this is where I might be the asshole. I said, I'll just give her the whole enclosure if she wants him back. It was so surprising to me, and in the moment, I thought maybe the right thing to do was give him back. I didn't know what else to say. Now I've been thinking about it, and I don't feel like it's fair to give him back. I was told it was my decision, I could adopt him if I wanted, and now her daughter wants him back now that she's seen he's doing better. I don't know, I just feel weird about it. Maybe my coworker didn't consult with her daughter when she said that I could have him, but I don't know what to do about it. Would I be the asshole if I tell my coworker I'm not giving him back? How do you go about even having a conversation like that, after I knee-jerk reacted and said that I'd give him back? I don't want to cause hostility with my coworker. OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the asshole. I feel like I might be the asshole because I already said I'd give the snail back, and by saying I don't want to give him back, I'm afraid it'll look like I've just changed my mind. In reality, my side of the story is that I adopted a new pet, have had him 4 months, and am now being told that I have to give him back. I'm aware my coworker's daughter might have a different side of the story though, and might have been told something different by her mother. I don't know what the right thing is in this scenario. Now in the comments, not the asshole, but I feel like you've dug yourself a bit of a hole that'll end up with someone being pretty annoyed at you if you don't follow through now. And OP replies, unfortunately, I think you're right. Don't give the snail back. Snails deserve good living conditions too. If the snail was in that condition when you got it, they will go back to mistreating it just as quickly. And it's obvious that she doesn't care about the snail that much if she ran away and just left it without arranging care for it with a friend or something. Don't give the snail back. It was almost dead when you got it, it's gonna die when you give it back. Not the asshole. Man, it's so sad the snail died over the weekend, winky face. And OP replies, I thought of that. God, I hate that I thought of that. I actually thought of saying my nephews were over and decided to play with the snail in the back garden and lost him, which I feel is better than saying it died. At least it would technically in her mind be lost in paradise. And it's also a half-truth since the nephews are coming over next weekend. But I don't know, would that make me a horrible person? I don't think it would make you a horrible person, especially since you're taking so much better care of it. Although she might see through the lie because it's too convenient. They honestly don't know a lot about snails. How likely is it to actually get lost in your garden? I can't really say if it's better to tell the truth or to lie, since you know your workmate better and can better gauge how she might react. But did she seem invested in the idea of getting the snail back when she first brought it up? Maybe she got in trouble with her daughter and just tried to see if she could get it back from you, but would actually understand if you didn't want to give it back. And OP replies, the way she brought it up was like this over our cubicle walls. Her. So, Anonymous, my daughter is coming back to town in June, and, well, I think she wants her snail back. She wanted to know how you made the enclosure like you did so she can try to make a list and do the same thing. Me. Oh, well, okay, she can just have mine then. Her. Oh, that would be so sweet of you. I honestly didn't think she'd want it back. So she could have just given it away without telling her daughter, or told the daughter that I would take care of it for her while she's gone. I can see it going two ways. 1, she thinks it's totally reasonable for me to want to keep the snail. I've invested time and money, and that was the original plan. Or 2, you're a 30-year-old woman? Why would you keep a pet from an 18-year-old girl? And now on to the update. I wanted to update my first post since so many people seem to be concerned about the snail in question. After reading and replying to as many replies as I could, telling me to be honest with my coworker and not to return the snail, I decided to take that advice and did just that. Yesterday, I spoke with her and explained that the snail was in poor condition when he arrived at my care, and how much time, energy, and money I spent to make sure that he was taken care of. I also reminded her of our first conversation, where I explicitly asked if this was a temporary adoption or a permanent rehoming, because I would get attached to the snail if given the chance, and she told me it was my choice and ensured me her daughter didn't care. She was super understanding. Said that she was actually surprised with my knee-jerk response that I would return the snail without any hesitation, and said she doesn't think her daughter is attached to my snail particularly, just that she wants a pet snail to take care of. So I told her I'd rustle up a spare tank and decor, and make her daughter an awesome enclosure for the next snail, along with a care sheet and a website to research in case she has any questions. My coworker was pleased with this, and seemed to think that her daughter would be too. Anyway, I know this is probably a dumb problem for most people, but it ended up being a happy ending, and I get to keep taking care of my little guy forever, as well as make sure any future snails in my coworker's daughter's care end up well taken care of. Thanks to everyone who participated in my last post. I really appreciated all the advice, and it was just the push I needed to have the awkward conversation in the first place. No feelings are hurt, and everything worked out. Now in the comments, people who don't realize how lovable and fascinating snails are missing out on life. We got a fish tank and added a snail to the tank as an afterthought to help keep the algae down, and the snail became our favorite pet in the house. He used to T-bone the catfish when the fish was asleep just for fun. I installed a Buddhist temple and a statue of the Buddha in his tank as a decoration, and his favorite place to perch is on the Buddha's head. If you don't know the story of the Buddha, he once meditated so long, he began to overheat in the midday sun, and snails climbed up to protect him from the heat, martyring themselves in the process. That's why he's always depicted as having bumps on his head. They're snails. Our snail literally reenacts Buddhist scripture every day in his tank. They are the best, and I'm glad you're giving that one a good home. Most animals are lovable and fascinating, except mosquitoes, blood-sucking idiots. Anyway guys, I think that's where I'm going to end today's video. If you did like it, tell me what you thought about it down in the comments below, and make sure to just interact with everyone in this community. I love each and every one of you that I get to see on a daily basis. And don't forget, if you are a Patreon subscriber, I love you. You're on the screen right now with the YouTube members as well. If you see yourself, give yourself a pat in the back. You guys help me continue this YouTube journey. You keep me going. I see you guys everywhere. I see your messages, and thank you so much for supporting me. I really love every single one of you. But with that all said, I'm going to be signing off now, guys. I hope you have a good day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.